friend Barbara just walked in. And Barbara is having a very special day. She has left her teen years and walked into the 20s.
Oh, it's her birthday today.
It is, right? So should we sing a little happy birthday to Barbara?
Happy birthday to Barbara as you're coming in.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barbara.
Happy birthday to you. Nice. Oh, well.
How about one more traveling song?
One more traveling song as people are coming in.
One that would encourage them to return.
What's that?
One that would encourage them to return.
I like it. Okay, we've got one like that.
Hopefully one that won't turn them away.
That's right. You don't want them to leave.
No.
Can you do the cup song?
We're going to do the cup song.
No way.
You got to come and see this.
Do you know how to do this, Bishop Dave?
Do you know how to do the cup rhythm?
No. I'm not that cool.
They don't do that at Bishop training?
No.
All right.
Yeah, they don't do that at Bishop school. Wait.
All right. So this is something we just love to do at youth gatherings. We had 300 junior high age blonde kids in a junior high retreat in North Dakota doing this together with 300 cups in a hotel ballroom. It goes like this. And everybody can sing this with us, this song. It's very simple. It just goes like this. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Yeah, anybody can do this. And we figured, well, it was so easy to get these 300 blonde kids in Bismarck, North Dakota to learn the cup rhythm and sing it in English. Let's teach it to them in Spanish. Lucecita mía, la voy brillar. Lucecita mía, la voy brillar. Lucecita mía, la voy brillar, se brillar, se brillar, se brillar. All right, now, come on in, everybody. We're going to do one more verse together. I want to hear all of you singing out. We're going to do Jesus Gave It to Me. I'm going to let it shine, all right? Here we go. Take a good breath. Jesus gave it to me. I'm going to let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm going to let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Woo! All right, well, we are going back to our agenda that we did not get to. At this time, I would invite Pastor Erica Lehman. She chairs our Hunger Committee, and she has some holy cows to give away. So if you would greet Pastor Erica. Okay. I need a pen. You're going to have to come around and... There you go.
Good morning. It's great to be with you. So, every year, the ELCA World Hunger asks for people in your congregations to be hunger advocates. And we haven't done a great job with getting hunger advocates. We have a few who've signed up. We appreciate anybody who's willing to sign on our list and be part of our team. And we will not make huge demands on you, but like the mission interpreters, and by the way, a mission interpreter can also be your hunger contact, we really want to get the word out. Last year we had 88 congregations in the Synod who gave to ELCA World Hunger. We would love to see that rise up and be considerably higher. But among those 88, there are a few congregations that have been superstars through the years, and we're trying to work our way through that list of those who have done extraordinary giving for World Hunger. And this year, the recipients of our traveling trophies, which are our Holy Cow Awards here, go to St. Mark's Lutheran Church here in Sioux Falls, and Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Highmore. And we're very proud that both of you have done outstanding work. And if you would come forward to receive your reward, somebody from each of those congregations. And thank you for your wonderful giving, and we appreciate it and hope that there'll be more of you who will be up for Holy Cow Awards. The boxes for the boxes for them are over there, and you'll want to have the packing. Okay, so then I have a couple other things that I want to mention in my 5 minutes here. One is that in South Dakota, because we are a low population state, but still have 2 senators like everybody else, our senators are extremely important people, and our vote, our contacting of them is more influential than in many other places. So right now, I have a few people who are ushers who are handing out little pieces of paper. We are asking you to write just a brief note to Senator Thune, who is the senior Republican on the Senate Commerce Committee, which means he has amazing power. And we're just asking him to, you have something on the screen. They're going to take up a bill from the House that includes a threat to food aid for the world's hungry people. And we, Bread for the World and other advocacy groups have been encouraging us to lower the amount of food that has to be bought in America and shipped on U.S. carriers to meet food emergencies in the world. But this bill calls for raising it to 75%, which would devastate the amount of food that goes into emergencies. It would take longer time, it would cost a huge part of the amount budgeted, and it would really help very few people if they did that. So what we are asking you to do is write a brief note, say you're from South Dakota, you care about hungry people, and you want to make sure that that is a priority. Your note then with your name signed and your address, we will take to Senator Thune's office on Wednesday. We would love to have at least 100 notes. If you want to know more, I can tell you, but even if all you say is please, in your position on the Senate Commerce Committee, you would vote, or you would influence against this bill to raise the amount that has to go on U.S. carriers. That would be wonderful. And then quickly, I want to tell you about the Ride to Provide, which is a motorcycle ride that will begin in Hartford and raise money for ELCA World Hunger. It's been postponed because of rain to Saturday, the 28th of June, and I have posters and bandanas promoting this, and they're downstairs, and we would love to sell you a bandana for $3 or have you come and ride, even better. And that will be the 28th. Then also we already started, and we will be continuing some information in the Synod e-news about congregations and ministries in South Dakota that have received ELCA World Hunger grants. You should have already heard from Jeanette Clark and she will be glad to tell you about applying for that and how much good it's doing for you. I just talked to Pastor Wilbur Holtz. He's going to write something up about the grants that they've received. Also, Jeff Sorensen has, and you too can apply for a hunger grant if you are doing a feeding issue in your congregation. So thank you for what you're doing. Call me, email me if you want someone to come out and do a program. We can help you do that. We would love you to be a contact person. Thank you, thank you.
It's a House bill.
It's a House bill that's going to the Senate Commerce. I don't know that you have the number yet.
It has to have a number.
Okay, I don't know. I'll let you hear that. I can look it up.
Thank you very much, Erica, and thanks for all the work that congregations do around hunger, and particularly those that participate in the ELCA hunger program. This time it is my privilege and pleasure to introduce to you the president of Lutheran Social Service. She is a friend of mine. We have known each other, worked alongside one another out in Pierre, and it is a delight to work with her as she serves this synod as the president of LSS. So if you would greet Betty Oldenkamp.
Great to have you here.
Well, good morning, everyone. And Bishop Zelmer, I am so very grateful to you for putting me after the break and not before. I would hate to get between this crowd of Lutherans and their fellowship and their coffee. So very, very grateful to be able to be with you today and share a little bit of update about Lutheran Social Services. We've had a busy, wonderful year. We've spent some time as an organization thinking about our mission and our vision and our values, and I want to share with you just a little bit of how we've kind of reframed some of that. We have, with the work of our staff and our board of directors, adopted a new set of guiding values for Lutheran Social Services. And LSS is the social ministry for the Evangelical Lutheran Church here in South Dakota. And as such, we believe that God's love compels us to serve and to value all people. Our core values are grounded by our faith in God. They guide our hands and our feet, our hearts and our words, as we serve our neighbors as God intended. And those are our core values guide not just the work we do with the people that we serve, but with those who serve them. And the values that we've adopted speak to being compassionate, appreciative, respectful, ethical, and strategic. And if you think about those words and the letters they start with, compassionate, appreciative, respectful, ethical, strategic, we have cares. And that is what we've done a lot of work with our staff over the course of this year about those values, what they mean, and how we interact with them and how they interact with all the people that we serve. So LSS Cares is kind of the acronym that comes from that. And we really do believe that our work is guided by ministry, that we are the hands, the feet, the work of this church in South Dakota. And through that, in the course of this past year, we have touched lives 50,000 times. And we do that as an extension of everyone that is here with us today and everyone that supports the ministry work of LSS. I just want to highlight for you a few of the things that have been going on through the course of this year. Many of you over the years have referred folks to us for our consumer credit counseling program. We've changed the name of that to the Center for Financial Resources. We still do the credit counseling piece of work, but we're really trying to move to a more preventative stance with that service, and so we're doing a lot more work with financial education, with home buyer education, And so we wanted a name that reflected that a little bit better. So that is now the Center for Financial Resources, still doing mortgage foreclosure work and bankruptcy work and credit counseling, but also trying to be a little more on the prevention side and help people from getting into some of those really serious situations. The other thing we've done here in Sioux Falls, many of you for years have supported our refugee and immigration program, our efforts to resettle folks here in South Dakota. We outgrew our location on West 11th Street probably actually about 3 years ago. It's taken us a long time to find a new home. And we at least have a temporary new home. We have moved into some leased space on South Main here in Sioux Falls. We didn't have room in our classrooms anymore. We provide English language training to over 1,000 people every year, and we just didn't fit in the 3 classrooms in the basement of our church location. So we have moved. I invite any of you anytime to stop by and see that at 114 South Main. We've also made a name change there. That is now the Center for New Americans. As many of you know, refugee resettlement sometimes isn't viewed positively by everyone. We believe it is incredibly good work that we do there, but we've changed the name to the Center for New Americans because we want that focus to be on where people are now, not where they have come from. The focus to be on what they desire in their future, that they are new to America, and you know they're people that are here to work, to develop families, to become citizens. So wanted to share that, and mainly the other thing that I want to do is really to say thank you. One of the pieces of the incredible work of our ministry is disaster response. And that's an area of service that we're not staffed for. You won't come into our building and find an office with that name on it. But when disaster happens, we take people and pull them from their regular duties, and they go out and assist in that response. And so this past year, we were part of the effort in western South Dakota to respond. We wouldn't be able to do that work without the support of the Synod. Those events, when that happens, usually start off with a conversation with the bishop and what's going on and how can we help. The Synod Council has been very gracious and generous in supporting that effort, giving us funds to get started. Lutheran Disaster Response has provided a commitment of $150,000 to assist out in western South Dakota. The Lutheran Social Ministry is not the first to respond to disasters. You know, we're not the Red Cross. We're not the Salvation Army. Those groups that are there at the very beginning. But we are always the last to leave. We are still providing services in western South Dakota. We did a cleanup weekend over Memorial Day. We will do another one yet this summer because there's still a lot of work left to be done in terms of helping people clean up the tree damage, some of the other things. You heard a lot about the Rancher Relief Fund, over $5 million raised to help the ranch families. What we did with the support that we received from the congregations across South Dakota, from many congregations outside of South Dakota, those dollars went to support people that weren't going to be assisted by the Rancher Relief Fund because they weren't ranchers. And so we have been able to provide about $250,000 of assistance to other people in western South Dakota that had a significant impact from that winter storm disaster. It is one of the most significant winter storms that we've ever experienced in South Dakota. You hear a lot of different numbers about the impact there, but we had the privilege to have Presiding Bishop Eaton come out and tour along with Michael Stady, who is the director of LDR, and Bishop Zelmer arranged that trip. And they got to see firsthand the devastation, but the stories that they heard accounted to upwards, I believe, of 91,000 head of livestock that were lost in that storm. And I know many of you, having been in South Dakota a lot of your life, know what that means to those families. So that work that we do in disaster response, to coordinate the response, to provide the social and spiritual support throughout that process of the immediate disaster, but long after that disaster, absolutely would not happen without the support of the South Dakota Synod, of LDR, Lutheran Disaster Response, and of the congregations that come forward and provide that support to us. So we are very, very grateful to you for that, and really extend that thank you to you from, at least this year, from all the people in Western South Dakota. I know they share in our gratitude. So thank you.
Thanks, Betty. Thank you very much, Betty. Appreciate you taking time to be here and for the work that you continue to do. They're going through some major transitions in Lutheran Social Service. They've had some just outstanding people that have worked for multiple decades that are finally deciding to retire. Who knew? And so please keep them in their prayers as some of those transitions are continuing. At this time, just as an introduction, is the Reverend Dr. Paul Baglios here. He has been here throughout our time. There in the back, if you want to stand, you are standing. Wave. Paul is a Region 3 coordinator. He works out of Luther Seminary. He works with each of the synods of Region 3. He is actually pivotal in our work with candidacy, both as people are entering into seminary education and preparation, and then as assignment takes place, and then as seminarians move out into our synods of Region 3. And so I wanted to introduce him, and just so you get a chance to say hi and thank you for the work that he does on our behalf as we work together. So thanks for being here, Paul. Oh yeah, well if you need to be on time for a meeting and you fly in yourself to an airport, don't call Paul. One of us could find the airport. I'll just say that much. We'll just kind of leave it at that. I know there's an advantage when you're up in the air, but then I was on the ground like he was, so just saying. Did finally work out. Can you see the elevator? No, the elevator on your left. Yes. Take one step ahead. There you go. Thanks, Paul. And then I would invite Pastor Ann Rosendale to please come forward. Get to thank her on behalf of Augustana College. They paid for our break, so we've invited Ann to just bring a greeting from Augie. So you could clap if you wanted to.
Well, on behalf of Augustana College, I want to bring you greetings from across the street. My name is Ann Rosendale. I serve as one of 2 campus pastors at Augustana, and so it's a thrill to be here with you today. As a pastor at Augustana, as an employee of Augustana, and also as a graduate of Augustana myself, I really believe in the power of Lutheran higher education, and I really believe that what we do at Augustana is just an extension of what you are doing in your congregations every day and every week. So a lot of what we do in campus ministry and at Augustana in general is really just one big partnership with all of you folks, and we're grateful for that. So for example, one of the things we talk a lot about at Augustana is this notion of vocation or calling. We talked a little bit about it last night. This idea that we're not simply going to college to get a better job or make more money or earn a degree, but we come to a place like Augustana for the same reasons that we come to church, week after week, to be formed and nurtured and shaped and challenged by the radical gospel of Jesus Christ for the sake of the world. So we talk about things like service, we talk about things like community, about others, people that are different from ourselves, and about calling, and this idea that calling doesn't just come from within us, but from outside of ourselves, from our neighbors that are in need. And through all of these conversations and these experiences and these learnings that we encounter, our hope is that we won't just shape people that have good careers in the world, though we do hope for that, but we also hope that we are shaping successful young adults that will be leaders in the world, that will be servant leaders for the sake of the rest of the world, for the sake of the neighbor, and that they will be people that really bring the kingdom of God a little bit closer to earth. So I want to invite all of you to partner with Augustana College, as many of you are already doing. I'll give you 3 quick ways that you can partner. The first is to make a visit to Augustana. Bring your high schoolers, tour the campus, learn more about what we're about at Augustana. Consider making a Lutheran college part of your post-high school plans if you have high schoolers. If you have middle schoolers, bring them to an event we do every February called Faith Fest. It's a weekend retreat opportunity. Another way that you can partner is by inviting Augustana and Augustana students to come to your churches. So if you know of a student that's on break, invite them to come and lead worship with you or share a story of what it is that they're learning in college. At Augustana, we have outreach teams that come to lead worship services on Sunday morning or lead lock-ins on Friday night with your youth. That's another way that you can invite us into what you're doing. And a third way that you can partner is simply by talking with young adults that you know about faith. Young adults are hungry to ask big questions, to have interesting and provocative conversations. So don't shy away from those topics with young adults. They really enjoy talking about those things and opening up about those things with you. I believe in the ministry of your congregations, and I believe in what Augustana College is doing. These are 2 things that have been hugely formative in my own life and my own faith: congregational ministry and college campus ministry. So thank you for the work that you are doing. Thank you for the ways that you partner with Augustana in shaping young adults in faith and in a life of service. Thanks.
At this time, I would invite the pastor Karen Rupp from Lakota Shared Ministries to please come forward for a mission moment. And thanks, Pastor Ann, for your work on campus and for your time here with us today.
Good morning. I'm thankful for the opportunity to share with you a reflection, a mission reflection from our Lutheran Lakota Shared Ministry at Pine Ridge. The picture that will be up in a moment, there it is a local artist in Pine Ridge, Kevin Poorbear. When I was there interning in 2006, Kevin would come by wheeling in his wheelchair, usually having several pieces of artwork that he had hopes of selling to any one of our visitors to add to his income, to help out the family somewhat. But unfortunately, Kevin was also struggling with some of those things that keep us bound up, the drugs and the alcohol. He'd grown up in a community of Allen on the eastern side of the reservation and lived with his grandparents as a child and did some time at one of the ranches. He was blessed in his childhood to have a teacher who mentored him. He recognized his artistic talent in drawing and introduced him to charcoals and pastels. And that stayed with Kevin. He had a love of art. As he grew older, he kind of went away from the reservation and went to Denver for a wild time, and doesn't know exactly what happened, but's been told that he fell out of a second-story window and he suffered a spinal injury and became paralyzed. And had a hard time accepting that, being wheelchair-bound, and did turn even more so to the drugs and the alcohol to help him get through the pain day by day, both the emotional pain and the physical pain. Came to a time where he was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And he'd also experienced having to have one leg amputated. And after I came back and I was there continuing the ministry at Pine Ridge, he let me know that he had an infection in his other leg and was going to need another amputation, have the second limb amputated. He asked for prayer, and we did pray, and we had conversation, and he said, I don't want to do it. I think I'd rather die. We continued to be in conversation. And one morning, he called and he said, Karen, can you come and pick me up and take me to the hospital? I'm going to have it. I'm going to do it. So I did. I picked him up and went up to the hospital, and he got admitted, and he had the second amputation. And I went up that afternoon to visit with him, expecting him not to be very coherent, but he was. He was alert. And I said, Kevin, do you think you could do me another piece of that artwork like you showed me last week, the Lakota Jesus? And that's the drawing that he's got in his hand there. And he said, can I do a larger version because it's more difficult to do the small one? I said, sure, whatever size. And when you get ready, there's no rush. The next afternoon, he delivered it to me. He had been discharged and had already finished the picture and brought it all complete to the retreat center. Since that time, he's gone through some transitions, some transformations. I like to think like the butterfly. He called me not too long ago and shared with me that it was his birthday. And I said, Kevin, we shared your birthday 3 months ago. And he said, no, this is my real birthday. I'm a Christian, I was baptized, and I've been sober for a year. Oh. During the course of this past year, we've had the opportunity to have Kevin come to the retreat center during that year of sobriety and share with us his gift of art. As he visits with our members of our groups, he will slowly begin to form a picture. And you wonder, you see a little line going across, and the picture takes shape, and he goes on and develops. And he'll do 3 pictures like that in about an hour's time as he shares some of his life experience. And what he shares mostly now is his passion for his art and his passion for Christ. And what he wants to do is to teach children how to draw like he does so that they will have that passion and hopefully not stray away from the red road, from the red path, the way he did. He wants them to stay on that red road. And he wants to share the gifts that he has for Christ and for artwork with our young people. We want to encourage him to do that. And it's just such a wonderful thing to see that he is unbound and free in Christ. And to see the joy as he shares that new experience of living a life free from bondage. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Pastor Karen, for your ministry on Pine Ridge and amongst the people of this church throughout the whole country. At this time, we need to have a credentials report. I would call on Reverend Ann Webb. And I would also invite David Scholl, Pastor David Scholl, to please come forward. The asperger?
Yeah.
No.
The credentials report for 10:30 a.m. Saturday. Clergy voting members, 128. Lay female voting members, 188. Lay male voting members, 140, for a total of lay voting members, 328, and a total of all voting members, 456.
Oh. Thank you very much, Ann. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over I would invite you to go to your ballot. You will find that in your app. Our Support to Ministries Committee is the nominating committee for this synod. Pastor David Scholl is the new chair of that committee, which makes him, I believe, the archdean among the deans. I just made that up. I kind of like it. We will be inviting you to nominate other folks, and then we will be electing members to each of the committees that you see there in front of you. The first is the Consultation Committee. Consultation Committee has only been called into action once in, I believe, the last 25 years. It was not something I enjoyed doing. Only part of the committee did an investigation on the Synod's behalf. They did their work very well and reported back to the Synod Council. And so I'm going to turn it over to David.
On the ballot for the Consultation Committee, 6-year term without consecutive re-election, there is one lay vacancy. Up for nomination is Kurt Olson from Sioux Falls.
You can ask for other nominations. I'll let you do that.
You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Are there any other nominations? Just like every other Lutheran group I've been in front of. It's all yours.
Okay. Are you willing to cast a unanimous ballot for Kurt Olson to serve on the Consultation Committee? Thank you. All those in favor of unanimous ballot, casting a unanimous ballot for Kurt Olson, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? He is elected. The Discipline Committee has never been called into being that I'm aware of in my whole history here in South Dakota, and we would like that to continue. They only exist for bringing disciplinary charges against a rostered leader. They do end up acting as if they were a court. It becomes incredibly expensive, and you just get up every morning and give thanks and praise that they have not been called into being, and because I do. And so these are folks that have been willing to serve in this capacity, and I will turn the meeting back over to David.
Nominations for the Discipline Committee, 6-year term without consecutive re-election. There are 3 lay vacancies. Ryan McCormick from Sioux Falls, Kyle Basie from Sioux Falls, Teresa Nygaard from Canton. Are there other nominations from the floor? Seeing none.
Again, are you willing to entertain a motion for casting a unanimous ballot? Is there a second? Is there debate? Hearing no debate, all those in favor of casting a unanimous ballot for these 3 people for the Disciplinary Committee, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, they are elected. I need to apologize to Haley Johnson. I'll take the hit since I'm the bishop. Haley's name should have been along with Brody's name for Synod Council. So I apologize to her. But we are going to, well, if it's up to you, if you would like to elect her, but her name really should have been with that group for Synod Council. She is being elected, if you so desire, to be the one of the 2 youth representatives for the Synod Council. So I'm going to turn it over to David.
For the Synod Council youth representative, 2-year term without consecutive re-election, 1 vacancy, Haley Johnson from Mitchell. Are there other nominations from the floor? Seeing none.
Again, I would entertain a motion to cast a unanimous ballot for Haley Johnson to serve as one of the 2 youth representatives. Is there a second? Is there debate? Hearing no debate, all those in favor of electing Haley, casting a unanimous ballot, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, raise your left hand. Very good. Boy, you are awake. There we go. Haley, great to have you on Synod Council. Looking forward to working with you. Then on behalf of Lutheran Social Service, we have 1 opening, and I will turn it over to David.
Nominations for the Lutheran Social Services Board of Director, a 3-year term with no more than 3 consecutive re-elections, 1 vacancy, Brenda Koenig, Southeastern Conference, 2nd term. Stop it. Are there any nominations from the floor?
Very good. Again, I would entertain a motion to cast a unanimous ballot for Brenda Koenig. Is there a second? Is there debate? How do you want to vote this time? Stand up? Huh? Do you want to move? All those in favor of casting a unanimous ballot, raise your right hand. Very good. All those that would oppose her, raise your left hand. She is elected. I want to thank everyone and their willingness to serve, even those that we pray to God every day that they will not serve in that capacity. And thank you, David. Fine job. Give me 1 second. Is Pastor Michael Johnson in the room? You want to come up for just a second? I teased him, but I didn't actually introduce him, which, you know, is out of order. I should have introduced him, and then I could have teased him. But Pastor Michael Johnson is now serving in Flandreau. We installed him last Sunday afternoon, and he comes to us from Minot, North Dakota, from Christ Lutheran Church, where I grew up. And I was told, not by Pastor Johnson, that he actually dove into the floodwaters to save my confirmation picture. I believe there's some truth to that. Maybe some exaggeration in that, but if you would welcome Pastor Johnson. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, let the teasing continue. At this time, I would invite Pastor, I just gave you a new title, Eric. If our treasurer, Eric Gilbertson, would please come forward for the adoption of our mission plan. Sorry.
Actually, the apology would be to the pastors in the room, not necessarily me for automatically considering me ordained. All right, so at this time what we'll be doing is moving into the 2015 proposed mission plan. I'm sure there's going to be some questions, debate, discussion. Before that, just a couple of items. I received a question last night about interest income going down. If you wanted to dig into the mission plan that was handed out, the investments that we had that were earning interest, they were longer term ones. They were rolled over into shorter, minimal interest. That's the nature of interest these days. So that's the reason why the interest went down. Parsing out the amounts for the deficit, the $53,000 deficit, the two main drivers of that, again, $10,000 going to campus ministry, and then the remaining $43,441 would be going to the proposed position at Pine Ridge for youth and children ministry. Little additional FYI to that, we have a verbal commitment from Bishop Tarrant of the Episcopalian Church that they're going to fund half that they're in for half. However, they don't meet until September, so once again, we don't have any official action money in our hands on that. And then there's also a commitment of between $6,000 to $8,000 from a church in Lansing, Michigan. Another commitment there, but no money in the bank that would be going towards that position. So at this time, I think it would be appropriate to entertain a motion to adopt the 2015 proposed mission plan, and then any ensuing debate, discussion can ensue at that point. Do I have a second? All right, the 2015 proposed mission plan is on the floor. And at this point in time, we would entertain questions, discussion, amendments, any of the above. Microphone 2.
Can I make an amendment with you presiding, or no?
No. You have to step out just for a second.
Now he takes away my ordination, now he's taking away the flag.
You're getting precariously close to breaking the first rule of Synod Assembly. You know that, don't you? No one can be funnier than the bishop. That's the rule. That's why we never bring Bishop Eaton back again. Microphone 2.
Jeff Sorensen, Messiah, New Hope in Sioux Falls. I have an amendment to offer, and I think it just clarifies what the intent is. As I was talking to Eric last night, and what we heard yesterday as well, was that the intent is to raise that $43,000, but it's still potential income. We don't really intend to have a deficit budget to that tune. And so, but we do, and it sounds like we do expect to have the $10,000 from campus ministry that may not come. And so if we added a line to under program ministry income at the very top of the proposed budget to say potential Pine Ridge ministry income and put in there the $43,441, and then you'd have a new total income line of $1,963,209, and then to change the net total at the end to minus $10,000, that would clarify that we really do intend to raise that money and not have a $53,000 deficit. And it also sets forth for us the goal of raising the potential income, and I think clarifies the intent, and so I would make that as an amendment.
Okay, is there a second? I would let you speak to it if you wanted to. I already let you did. But.
Just completely support the project. Thinks it's a wonderful thing. Been talking about that for a long time. Great, let's raise the money, but we're really not intending to deficit spend, as we heard yesterday. And I think this just clarifies that. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor. And we're working at getting it up on the screen so you can see where it would go. Very good. All righty. Is there further debate on the amendment? Not on the mission plan, but on the amendment that Pastor Jeff brought. Seeing no movement to microphone, this would take a 50% or a simple majority to amend the budget. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the budget is amended and is now back before you. It's all yours.
Thank you. Until he takes it away again, I'm sure. So, I would agree with what, actually, do I need to enter into a 2-minute time period, or can I just go editorial here?
You're the treasurer, you.
Okay.
If it gets out of control.
Okay. Sounds good. No, I would completely agree. The clarification, at the end of the day, it would put us in the same place. The message that I would say, if it goes past as is, that 43,000, we have some verbal commitments on it, but at the end of the day, I'll just say implore. As you go back to your congregations, there is still fundraising that would need to be done, not only to fund those positions in the short term, but over the long term. So going back to that slide that I had yesterday about needing, over the long term, 10% increase in mission support across the Synod from what we receive, and those shorter term designated commitments to these ministries, that's really what it's going to take for us to fund these missions long term. So at this point in time, if there weren't any other questions, amendments, discussions, voting.
Yeah. All right. Let's use our voting machines. And they even got the slide correct. I love that. Way to go back there. You will be voting on whether or not to approve the amended 2015 mission plan. For those of you that wish to adopt this mission plan, you would push A or 1, or if you do not want to pass this mission plan, you would push B or 2. Please vote now. Please close voting and display the results. It is passed by 94%. Thank you very much. Now, not to be too blunt, that was the easy part, right? Now the more difficult part is to raise up the ministry that we do together. I hope that you have seen as we move through this day and a half of the ministry that we actually share, whether it be Lutherans Outdoors, LSS, Heartland Epitha, the South Dakota Synod itself, but we do this ministry together. And it is really decisions that you make in council chambers at annual meetings, then in what goes actually into the plate and sent to us so that we might share it. And so I commend you to that work as you represent not only the South Dakota Synod, but the larger church as well as you return home. All right. At this point, we're actually back on track. What? Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to, open space, there we go. I need to have Pastor Tesh and Pastor Jonathan Vihar to please come back. We're going to hear how, is it all Pastor Jonathan? You should know that in the Synod office, we call him His Holiness. He continues to advocate for having a pope in the Lutheran Church. And I believe he is presenting himself, for consideration.
Yeah. To clarify, I advocate me being the pope.
Yeah, you being the pope.
Yeah. Not just a pope. I come from the old Swedish tradition, so I'm at a place in the ALC up here, but I'm not that old, so I guess the Swedish tradition is long gone. Okay, well, let's, I think open space, from what I've heard from people, went well yesterday. We would love to hear feedback or how the first process went, and we hope now in the next 45 minutes to be able to continue some of those conversations. So just before we send you off, just a couple notes. One is the law that you have, using your feet to move you. So if you enjoyed your conversation yesterday, felt it was worthwhile, and would like to continue to engage in that, go back to the same room that you were at yesterday. If you felt that your interests and gifts may be suited someplace else, then find a different topic, interest area for you. If you felt that within your conversation that there are really many things that were being discussed and the group was too big, then feel free to divide that group up and to get more focused on your area of passion. If you feel that you and another group were talking about the same thing and it would work well to continue that conversation with more people, then find that group and merge with them. What this time is, you make of it. So if it's a success, then you will have made it so. If it's a failure, it's your fault. So maybe in this next 45 minutes to consider what this next step looks like as we continue this conversation. We hope that this goes far and beyond the Synod. So what will make this next step worth it to you? Maybe it's just finding one person in that room to connect with over the next year to continue the conversation and dialogue with these important topics. Maybe your group decides to figure out one attainable goal to think about and what that would look like for this next year. Maybe you will make one personal commitment to something that you will try in your congregation, in your own life, or in your community. Maybe there's one question that comes up for you that you want to get answered, and you'll spend this next year seeking to answer that. I was originally going to tell you just to call Bill Tesh for the answer, but he said I couldn't do that. But I did anyway. How about that? Fit it in. So there's the next steps. It's up to you and what you make of this time. There is one room change. The group on prayer was larger than we were expecting. And so that group, the couple conversations that were all around prayer, will move to the fellowship fellowship room downstairs. Every other group will meet in their same room. But again, use your feet and find a place to continue the conversation as you see fit. As you finish up your group, you may submit a new report outlining your conversation. It might even be very beneficial to type that up and email that, and that you can send to Bill Tesh at btesh@sdsynod.org, or you can use the form in your app. Group leaders, the group leaders can fill those out, or anyone who was a part of that group. If we can get multiple reports from the same group, that's fine too. Leave anything out?
Nice job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I get to dismiss them or
no?
Okay.
I could call you back up if you really want to dismiss them. Just a couple of announcements about our next moments together. You heard from Pastor Jonathan about the invitation to make this moment yours, and I would certainly concur and support that. When we will start lunch at 12:15, feel free to grab a bite and go back and continue the conversation if you want to do so. If you gather at table, we'll make you responsible for doing a table prayer. You're all adults, and I suspect most of you know how to pray. We will return at 1 o'clock here in the plenary in the Celebrate Center. Have a wonderful time. During lunch from 12:15 to 1 o'clock, if you want to hear mission moment stories, that will be in the lower fellowship hall. It was one of the rave reviews last year. So if you want to hear some mission moments, fellowship hall in the basement during lunch. Have fun.